Greetings and welcome to the November rendition of Where in the World is the Tonsk Report. Again, first one to correctly identify my location wins the prize. So for November, I thought I'd share with you the first Thanksgiving meal. For many Americans, the Thanksgiving meal includes seasonal dishes, such as roast turkey with stuffing, cranberry sauce, mashed potatoes, and pumpkin pie. The holiday feast dates back to November 1621, when the newly arrived Pilgrims and the Wampanoag Indians gathered at Plymouth for an autumn harvest celebration, an event regarded as America's first Thanksgiving. But what was really on the menu at that famous banquet, and which of today's time-honored favorites didn't earn a place at the table until later in the holiday's 400-year history? Turkey. While no records exist of the exact bill of fare, the Pilgrim chronicler Edward Winslow noted in his journal that the colony's governor, William Bradford, sent 4 men on a fowling mission in preparation for the 3-day Thanksgiving event. Wild but not domestic turkey was indeed plentiful in the region and a common food source for both English settlers and American Indians. But what is just as likely that the fowling party returned with were other birds, such as ducks, geese, and swans. So instead of bread-based stuffing, herbs, onions, or nuts might have been added to the birds for extra flavor. So herbs, onions, or nuts might have been added to the birds for extra flavor. Turkey or no turkey, the first Thanksgiving attendees almost certainly got their fill of meat. Winslow wrote that the Wampanoag guests arrived with an offering of 5 deer. Culinary historians speculate that the deer was roasted on a spit over a smoldering fire, and that the colonists might have used some of the venison to whip up a hearty stew. Fruits and vegetables. The 1621 Thanksgiving celebration marked the Pilgrims' first autumn harvest. So it is likely that the colonists feasted on the bounty they had reaped with the help of their American Indian neighbors. Local vegetables that likely appeared on the table include onions, beans, lettuce, spinach, cabbage, carrots, and perhaps peas. Corn, which records show was plentiful at the first harvest, might also have been served, but not in the way most people enjoy it now. In those days, the corn would have been removed from the cob and turned into cornmeal, which was then boiled and pounded into a thick corn mush or porridge that was occasionally sweetened with molasses. Fruits indigenous to the region included blueberries, plums, grapes, gooseberries, raspberries, and of course cranberries, which Native Americans ate and used as a natural dye. The Pilgrims might have been familiar with cranberries by the first Thanksgiving, but they wouldn't have made sauces and relishes with the tart orbs. That's because the sacks of sugar that traveled across the Atlantic on the Mayflower were nearly or fully depleted by November 1621. Cooks didn't begin boiling cranberries with sugar and using the mixture as an accompaniment for meats until about 50 years later. Fish and shellfish. Culinary historians believe that much of the Thanksgiving meal consisted of seafood, which is often absent from today's menus. Mussels, in particular, were abundant in New England and could be easily harvested because they clung to rocks along the shoreline. The colonists occasionally served mussels with curds, a dairy product with a similar consistency to cottage cheese. Lobster, bass, clams, and oysters might also have been part of the feast. Potatoes. Whether mashed or roasted, white or sweet, potatoes had no place at the first Thanksgiving. After encountering it in its native South America, the Spanish began introducing the potato to Europeans around 1570. But by the time the Pilgrims boarded the Mayflower, The tuber had neither doubled back to North America nor become popular enough with the English to hitch a ride. New England's native inhabitants are known to have eaten other plant roots, such as turnips and groundnuts, which they may or may not have brought to the party. Pumpkin pie. Both the Pilgrims and members of the Wampanoag tribe ate pumpkins and other squashes indigenous to New England, possibly even during the harvest festival. But the fledgling colony lacked the butter and wheat flour necessary for making pie crust. Moreover, settlers hadn't yet constructed an oven for baking. According to some accounts, early English settlers in North America improvised by hollowing out pumpkins, filling the shells with milk, honey, and spices to make a custard, then roasting the gourds whole in hot ashes. So, friends, there you have it. The first Thanksgiving meal. And I hope yours is a wondrous and thankful party. Happy Thanksgiving.